Okay, so over the past few months, we've been teasing the fact that we've been wanting to add a new credit card to our lineup. And by the way, when I say lineup, it's not actually much of a lineup, considering that we only have 2 credit cards that we use right now. But today is finally the day we've officially signed up for a new American Express credit card, which is pretty exciting considering all the potential perks that comes along with it. Today, we're gonna walk you through some of the research that we did, so narrowing down which specific card would actually be best for us, and then also how it's gonna fit in with how we use our other credit cards right now. We've also gotten a lot of questions about credit cards lately, and especially the American Express lineup, and specifically the Cobalt card, which is exactly what we're gonna be covering today. And spoiler alert for you, the Cobalt is probably the card that's gonna be the best choice for the majority of people, and we're gonna explain why in this video. So the last time we talked about credit cards, we had just gotten our new TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite card, which worked out pretty well for us because at the time they were offering 50,000 bonus points, with 10,000 of those points being available after signing up and then making your first purchase with the card. So a really quick overview for anyone who's not familiar with this card. It's a co-branded or product-specific card where any purchasing and spending that you do with this card allows you to earn points for Aeroplan, which you can use towards any travel-related expenses with Air Canada specifically, which is an airline. After that, an additional 25,000 points would be earned if you spent $5,000 using the card in the first 180 days. Now, for most people hearing that, you might be thinking, wow, besides those initial 10,000 points, who's gonna spend $5,000 in 6 months or less? The reality is that a lot of people actually do spend that much money and spend more than they think they are in every single month, let alone a 6-month span, mostly because they don't have a budget. But beyond that, even if you don't think that you do spend that much, if you're gonna go on a trip sometime soon and you're gonna be spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on flights and accommodations, then that's typically the perfect time to sign up for a new credit card like this one. Now, before we get into the science of credit card points, let's first talk about what points are and how they can differ from card to card. Now, first and foremost, it's really important for you to figure out what your priorities are, and then even more importantly than that, for you to analyze what your typical spending looks like month to month. When it comes to your priorities, you'll notice that there's a lot of different credit cards out there that offer anything from general points to product or service specific points. Take our TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite card, for example. With that one, you're earning points that you can redeem for flights with Air Canada. Another example would be the Marriott Bonvoy card. With that one, you're ideally earning points every time you spend with the card that you can eventually use towards either discounted or free stays at any Marriott hotels. So both of those ones are product-specific credit cards. Now, American Express points, on the other hand, or more general, they can actually be earned and then redeemed at a variety of different American Express partners, or you could also transfer them for points with specific airlines or specific hotel chains and more. So going back to the whole priorities thing, understanding your priorities is really understanding what type of points you're looking for, whether that's for air travel, for free or upgraded hotel stays. There's a ton of different examples.
Now, on the other hand, when it comes to analyzing your monthly spending and how that translates into points, I think that one of the biggest realizations that we've had, especially when looking into credit cards, is that regardless of what anyone says, so whether it's a credit card hacker or even one of your friends, the main reason that you see people getting upgraded or even getting free flights or free stays at different hotels is because, yes, they are using the right credit cards, but they're also likely spending more money than you. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're a regular person, then you can only spend so much of your money, assuming of course, you're not like borrowing a whole bunch of money to fund your lifestyle. But when it really comes down to it, yes, you can have the right credit card, but you still need to be spending on that credit card in order to reap the benefits. Anyways, this is why it's important to know how much you spend in a typical month in your different budget categories. So we're talking things like food and restaurants, clothing, and transportation. So we're thinking maybe Ubers and public transportation and more. Understanding this will help you know whether or not it actually makes sense to get that card that everyone's been recommending. What happens to a lot of people is that sometimes they'll either get a card whose benefits aren't supported by their spending, or they'll get a card and then they'll start spending more money so that they can actually try and meet those different spending thresholds so that they can earn more points. Going back to that example that we gave earlier, if you have a card that requires you to spend $5,000 within 180 days, then you should probably look into whether you normally spend that kind of money, or if for whatever reason within the next couple of months you'll be able to hit that spending threshold. This is more or less the basics when it comes to understanding how points work, but let's actually get back to us for a second.
When we were looking into the American Express cards, one of the key things that let us actually narrow into which card would be the best for us was our spending. Now, I'm sure you guys are up to date with how much money we've spent so far in 2024, but it really occurred to us when we were looking into that for the amount of money that we'd been spending, and specifically in some of those bigger, higher spend categories, based on our current credit card lineup, we weren't really being rewarded in the way that we should have been. Now, we do, of course, have that TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite card that we've been using to try and get those 50,000 points, but we've actually hit all of the different spending thresholds that we have to in order to get that. So we got the 10,000 points for the welcome bonus right after we made our first purchase. Then after that, we did hit the $5,000 in spend for the first 180 days, which got us another 25,000 points. And now we're actually just waiting until the 1-year anniversary to get the remaining 15,000 points. And there's nothing else we have to do for that. We're just waiting for that 1 year to hit. Basically, we're good to go with this card. And apart from wanting this card's travel specific perks, so travel medical insurance, rental car insurance, etc., for when we're actually going on a trip, it honestly doesn't make much sense for us to continue to use this card for anything else at this point. You also only get 1 point for every dollar spent and maybe 1.5 points for eligible gas, grocery, and direct through Air Canada purchases, so it's something, but definitely nothing to brag about. Over the last few years, though, the bulk of our spending has actually been done on our Neo Financial Cashback credit card. Now, this is a great everyday credit card if you're looking for cashback, potentially if you can't get approved for the American Express card as well. We've really liked it, but I will say if you're looking for travel-specific benefits and earning points that can be redeemed for travel-specific things, then it's probably not the right card for you. But like I said, this card is a great everyday spending card that definitely offers way more cash back than the cashback credit card that your bank would offer. They partner with different restaurants and places that you probably spend at often. They specifically offer 6% cash back on restaurants and bars, 4% cash back for streaming services and also delivery food apps, and then 3% cash back on gas and groceries. So for like a no annual fee card, this is definitely our go-to cashback one. But for us, now that we're looking to get the best bang for our buck when it comes to traveling specifically, it honestly doesn't make a lot of sense for us to continue to use this card as our main spending card, especially when there's better options out there, which brings us back to American Express.
So when it comes to American Express cards, I think that they've done one of the best jobs at marketing and branding their products. And the main reason I'm saying this is because I'm sure we've literally all heard something or seen something about their products. And on top of that, me and Steph recently saw a video where someone was showing how they finally got their American Express Platinum card as if it was a milestone. Listen, if there's anything at all that we've learned about credit cards, it's that they are not status symbols, despite how like shiny or aesthetically pleasing some of them might be, or at least they shouldn't be. When it really comes down to it, you should be using the card that makes sense for you based on your stage of life, or honestly based on the amount of money that you actually spend on a normal month. Anyways, when we were looking at the American Express Platinum and Gold cards, none of them really made sense after the first year, and that's assuming you met the thresholds, the spending thresholds, in order to get the welcome membership reward points. Take the American Express Platinum card, for example. This is a really great card if you're a frequent traveler who also spends a lot of money, and hopefully you can actually afford to spend a lot of money. I will say the bonus points aren't as high as what we've seen in the past, but as of right now, you could earn 70,000 points if you spend at least $10,000 within the first 3 months of you having the card. Now, some of the main benefits when it comes to the Platinum card specifically are things like, you having access to all the different airport lounges, different hotel status benefits. So for example, you being able to get upgraded once you actually get to your hotel, or even some of the smaller touches, like you having a welcome letter in your room once you actually get there. There's like an extensive, some of the travel insurance coverages, there's buyer protection and warranty coverages, and there's a whole bunch more that they definitely offer for this card. Basically, they offer a lot, but for an annual fee of $799. So really, you kind of have to ask yourself a couple questions after that first year. So that's assuming in that first year, you traveled a lot and you also spent a whole bunch of money in order to meet the different spending thresholds. So you need to ask yourself, one, whether you'll be able to maintain that spend moving forward, and two, whether or not you'll actually be able to get $799 worth of value after that. Also, that's keeping in mind that you also do get a $200 annual travel credit and a $100 credit for Nexus as well. For most people, the answer is likely no. And honestly, with the exception of like maybe the couple times that you'll travel a year where you'll feel like a status member when you're sitting at an airport lounge, are you really gonna be able to take advantage of all of the other perks? Probably not. This now brings us to the American Express Cobalt card, which kind of like what we were saying at the beginning of the video, this is likely the card that most people should consider using just based on how it's structured. By the way, you'll notice that I skipped the AMEX Gold altogether, mainly because we didn't see the value in it, especially when you're earning the same number of points per category as the AMEX Platinum with nowhere near the same travel benefits, which is obviously something that we're specifically looking for in a card. And also, apart from the 60,000 membership rewards points that you get, you're not really, when it comes to your everyday spending, you're not really being rewarded in the same way that you would be rewarded with the Cobalt. Basically, the Cobalt card is currently offering 15,000 welcome rewards points that you earn month to month in your first year of actually having the card. So what that means, or how that works, is that if you have at least $750 of net purchases posted on your account throughout each billing cycle, you'll earn 1,250 points. Now, if you multiply that by 12, that'll give you your 15,000 points for the year. Now, the Cobalt card works kind of differently in that it has a $12.99 a month fee, which works out to being $155.88 a year. So a bit higher than the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite card at $139, with obviously the first year being waived, but still lower than the Platinum at $799 and the Gold at $250. Now, for us, that $750 a month in net purchases honestly shouldn't be that hard for us to hit. Like, if we even just take a look at our grocery costs, like we spend just over $600 on groceries alone each month. So if we factor that in and also some of our other recurring purchases, we'll definitely be able to get that 15,000 points. Now, the main reason you might like the Cobalt card and the main reason that we're getting it is because of the point structure. You earn 5 times the points on eats and drinks, which includes participating grocery stores, which is clutch. You earn 3 times the points on streaming subscriptions, and that includes Spotify and Apple Music. You earn 2 times the points on travel related and transportation costs, which also includes just your regular like commuter costs. So your streetcar, subway, that kind of thing. And then you earn 1 times the points on literally everything else. The main thing you should look out for is whether or not your specific grocery store is on the list. Or better yet, the next time you go into the grocery store, literally just, before you pay, just ask them whether they accept Amex. If they do, that's great because that's obviously a high spend category that you're gonna be spending on every single month. And on top of that, you earn 5 extra points in that category, which is awesome. If not, then you might wanna reconsider getting the card, unless when you were analyzing your monthly spending, you noticed that you were spending high on restaurants anyways, just restaurants that accept Amex, of course. I actually think that this is a really important thing to point out because in the past, there's been a lot of people who've actually gone ahead and signed up for an American Express credit card, but then they've realized after that a lot of the places that they actually frequent and go often don't actually accept American Express cards. So it's always good to double check. They actually have a great business finder on their website where you can literally just type in the name of the business that you're going to and see whether they're a participating member of Amex, or the next time you go in person, you can just ask them whether they accept American Express.
We also want to mention that this card offers some of the main travel benefits that you'd expect, like travel medical, travel accident, car rental or hotel burglary insurance, and more. They also have shopping coverage for things that you buy and mobile protection, so think theft, loss, or accidental damage if you buy your phone using your American Express card. Anyways, with all that being said, we're actually really excited to get this card. We hadn't really considered getting a card with an annual fee in the past, even though, yes, technically our TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite card does have an annual fee, but it was waived for the first year, and we might actually even downgrade our card to a no-fee one once that first year is up after we review how the benefits were for us, so we'll see if we even end up paying that moving forward. But with the AMEX Cobalt, every 1,000 points is equal to $10 in statement credits, so after the first year, we should get the 15,000 welcome points, which is equal to $150, which pretty much covers the fee. And then on top of that, based on how much money we spend on groceries alone, we should be getting about 39,000 points, which is another $390. Then our second year of having the card, we of course wouldn't get those welcome bonus points anymore, but we would still have that minimum of $390 based on our grocery spending alone. And if you subtracted the annual fee of $155.88 from that, we would still have a minimum of $234.12 in reward dollars for us. And again, that's not including any other spending categories, that's just from our grocery costs alone. Then we'll probably end up transferring those points over to Aeroplan at a 1-for-1 match. They do have a list of a bunch of different airlines that you can do this with, but given where we live, our main airline is Air Canada. Anyways, we've officially signed up for the card, and we're of course going to keep you guys updated on how we like it as we actually start to use it moving forward. And if you want to sign up for an Amex card, you can use our link here and you'll actually get a special reward offer.
Okay, so that's a wrap on this video, but if you have any other thoughts or comments on credit cards, or if you have a credit card that you use that you think is awesome that you want to share with the people, let us know down in the comment box below, and yeah, we'll see you next week with another video.